Welcome, everybody. First and foremost, I have a couple of leaders here, business leader, technology and product leader. We'll have them introduce themselves in just a moment, but it's a pleasure to be here. We're kind of talking about the acquisition 6 months in, I think just a little over 6 months in, the acquisition of ATPI by Direct Travel. There was a few things that I think we talked about at the beginning of the acquisition, and it was really about talking about a build. The fact that it was a build from a great relationship, a relationship that spanned 10 years or more. Mm-hmm. I think it was a build on a philosophy too, a philosophy of customer excellence and going above and beyond for customers, whether the customer was the traveler or the customer was the travel manager or those responsible for their travel programs. We talked about bringing a new global provider to bear, spanning 90 countries, I think, and building on that history in corporate travel, but also creating a company with tremendous breadth, from leisure travel and booking your Spanish getaway to meetings and events and pretty comprehensive solutions there. And then, of course, based on ATPI's heritage, just these deep chops in specialty markets. Yep. But today we're going to focus on a particular area of the business because I think the timing of the acquisition was perfect for something known as Avenir, the French word for future. So I want to dig in with two of you because you are the experts, just what Avenir means, what it is, what it brings, why it's different, why we're so excited about it. But first I'll ask you both to introduce yourselves, but first maybe Jenny. You can introduce yourself.
Sure, thanks, Chris. So I'm Jenny Thornton, Director of Tech Solutions. So I'm responsible for the teams that look after our client-facing tech commercially. So of course, I'm extremely excited about what this acquisition brings with the Avenir platform.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, thanks, Chris. My name is Jochem Hemink. I'm the head of sales for Direct in the Netherlands and Belgium. That's the region. So me and my team responsible for all the new client relationships.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, let's dig in. First question.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit. Let's frame Avenir. Why was it created? Why is it different? What gets you excited about it?
Okay, so Avenir was really built and exists because it's there to solve so many challenges that we've been facing in the industry for such a long time now. So if you think about tech in our personal lives, even booking our own holidays, online shopping, doing our banking, it's been so much more intuitive and sophisticated and developed a lot more quickly than what we use sort of in the business travel space. And now naturally travel managers and travelers are getting frustrated and they're demanding and expecting a little bit more.
Yep.
So to touch on some of the pain points to maybe set the scene about why we created this platform, we hear all the time, I've found this fare cheaper on the airline's website.
I think travel managers must wake up in the middle of the night and go, somebody else has found a cheaper fare.
And for us as a TMC, hearing that is the worst possible thing. If you're a consultant and they've gone online and they've looked at options and then you hear that, it's just heartbreaking really. Yeah. So that's the first thing. And then what happens with that, of course, is well, the traveler, they want the best fare, they want to do the right thing for their business, so they go off program. And they book. So customers end up with leakage, can't track spend correctly because it's all over the place. But most importantly, and more prevalent than ever at the moment, is you don't know where those people are in the event of event of a situation like we're experiencing in the Middle East. So this knock-on effect of not having the right content causes so many more problems, both for the traveller and for the business as well. So that's the first one. Other things that cause pain are you've booked your flight, you've issued a ticket, and you need to change it. And it might be your meeting's changed, or it might be there's been disruption at an airport and your flight's been cancelled. You have to pick up the phone and speak to somebody.
Right.
And, especially if it's a major event, you can imagine trying to get hold of somebody in that situation. It can become extremely frustrating as a traveller. Yeah. And if we think about Amazon, when you book on Amazon, you don't go off and check the price on 10 other websites before you book it. You put it in your basket and you make that purchase.
Yeah.
And then if you need to change or claim a refund, you don't speak to an Amazon agent, you do it all online.
Yeah.
So the reason these problems exist is because of the technology that we use in the business travel space has been built on old legacy infrastructure, namely the GDS that's been around since the 1960s.
Yeah.
So what that means is when there's new things emerging in the market, new innovations, it's extremely difficult to develop that technology. So that's where Avenir comes in.
Yeah.
So Avenir is built on modern cloud architecture. It's taken away the reliance on the GDS. It's not built on that infrastructure anymore, which means when we need to innovate and bring new things to the market, we can do it really quickly, including solving those pain points that I've just talked about, but most importantly, making us fit for future. So it really is, I believe, it's a time of transformation in the industry, and that's what Avenir brings us.
I think that's great. I think it's true what you say. It's not just about where we are as an industry today. It's about anticipating what's next, and nobody can really anticipate what next. So you need a platform that's really adaptable and you can sort of get plugged into easily.
Exactly.
From your perspective, talk a little bit more about, in your mind, what makes Avenir stand out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so following on what Jenny just said, one of the areas where Avenir really makes a difference for travel managers is that they supply their corporate travel community, their travelers, with a booking tool that they actually love to use. Because it's very intuitive, it's very clean, options are presented very logically. As a travel manager, you can even build in your policy what defines the lowest logical fare, so that you can, ensure that your travelers see what belongs to the travel policy, and they can stay in the within the boundaries of the corporate frame. And next to that, the beauty of that is that Avenir is built on a single global instance. So that means that you have one platform, one umbrella really, where you manage all your markets. So if you have a program that spans, 15 markets in Europe, you can control those 15 markets with one platform. And that brings a lot of great advantages for travel managers to maintain a global or an international travel platform. And as Jenny just said, content is very, very important. You want to take that leakage out. So you want to make sure that your travelers, not only they love the tool that they use, but they also get the travel options that they need. And you can, with these direct connects, you can ensure that you don't ever hear again that that same thing as Jenny said. I found it cheaper somewhere else.
Sure.
We want to rule that out of the program and bring, take that noise away.
Yeah, I think the travel manager's job is hard enough without a lot of input from travelers, I think. And it's such a tricky role too. They're balancing costs and the needs of the business, as well as trying to satisfy travelers.
Yeah, it gives a travel manager the opportunity to go from like more reactive, like somebody says, hey, I found it cheaper there, that you need to react. You need to explain, or you need to check why was that the case, if it was. Or reactive towards like a CFO or a finance manager says, hey, we have a certain budget to make, can we do something to cut our costs? As a travel manager with Avenir, you can be ahead of the game, and you can implement or install a policy change for a certain period of time to drive cost savings, for example.
And I think that's the key too. I think it's moving travel managers from this reactive, tactical posture where they're addressing questions and
very much
policy questions from travelers, to something that's a little bit more strategic-minded for the business and taking a look at the program and optimizing the program. So from the client perspective, what is their feedback on Avenir? What's their impression of it?
So for any customer that I've spoken to, whether it's prospect or whether it's an existing customer, I hear one word all the time, and it's game changing. Everyone's just like, wow, I can do all of this myself, because this platform truly has become self-serve. So anyone can go on, and all of the pain that we had with making changes or, looking for those, the best fares all in one place. And I think that's what I hear the most, and time saving.
Yeah.
Because just think about, like, if you're going online, you make a booking and you don't trust the fare that you're seeing, and you're a traveller and you're busy and you've got a day job to do, but instead you're shopping around and playing travel agent. Like that's just insane.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unseen time and effort being spent on booking travel within organisations, and that goes away with this platform. So yeah, game changing is the one that I tend to hear the most.
I think that's good. I think the other thing, because we've been talking a lot about the technology, but a part of the impetus behind the acquisition, I think, is the like-minded nature of the companies. ATPI, a long history of excellence in customer service and direct travel, the same sort of great notoriety for just how far they would go for the customer, whether that customer was the end traveler or the travel manager. Talk to me a little bit about that history of customer service and balance between technology that's going to serve you, but then, as is often the case, and certainly in times like this, travelers do need to reach out to an agent at times.
Yeah.
And what that means.
It's actually quite interesting that now that Avenir's brought into the European markets end of last year, we started this year really with some challenging situations. Here we're now in Amsterdam, and the first week of January the airport was closed because of snow, and then obviously we have other things happening in the world right now that cause a lot of travelers needing assistance.
Yeah.
And what you really see here is that as a company, we have this heritage and this foundation of being a service-led, service-driven travel management company globally.
Yeah.
That counts for both direct travel as well as for ATPI. And having that as a foundation, as a basis of how we as a company and each individual, how we act, how we think, always first customer solution driven. How do I get that traveler back on the go? That is, I think, something that you cannot just replicate with tech. There's a lot of things that tech can solve, and we can put a lot of empowerment to the traveler and the travel manager. But when the ass hits the fan, that's when somebody needs to step up and say, hey, I'll get you there. I'll make some overtime and make sure that you have a new hotel booked, or you have something organized for you as a stranded traveler. That's really key, and it's interesting. We see that a lot of that need right now in 2026 still exists. Yeah, and it's not just about answering a call or a chatbot responding to your chat request. It's really you need to speak to a person. Yeah.
The other thing that I'm thinking about is the value that we bring clients. Talk a little bit more about your thoughts on the value that Avenir brings. We talked about a couple of things, but maybe you can expand.
I think the value really is in that booking experience. So Joachim touched on it at the start about how this is a platform that travellers love to use.
Yeah.
So when you're going online and you're making your bookings, first you want it to be intuitive. Secondly, you want it to be personalised. You want it to know things about you in the same way. Like we don't watch Netflix. Netflix tells us what I want to watch now. So it's sort of adopting that same principle. So if you were to say to me, what are some of the things that are easing the pain that we've experienced in the past? We've touched on the direct connects. Maybe not enough, actually, because this is one of this is the beauty of the platform.
Right.
It's not reliant on the GDS. So we have more airline direct connects than any other tech provider out there. It doesn't just stop at air. We have direct connects with hotel chains. Take Marriott being a great example. If you're a Marriott Bonvoy member, you can only normally book those rates directly on the Marriott website. but not anymore, not with Avenir, because we brought in this direct connect, meaning you can book those types of rates online as well that you can't do through a traditional GDS model.
Yeah.
So the content is key in all of this to ensure that you get that traveller engagement and the adoption remains
Rail
high.
is a big one too, especially here in Europe.
I'm so glad you brought rail up. It's my favourite subject.
I may have had a sneaking suspicion that you. Oh, Jenny and rail.
Oh my gosh, you're going to get me started now. So yes, rail, it is a huge challenge for us here in Europe especially. And the problems that we've had in the past is you could only book a rail ticket really from your home market. So if I'm in the UK, I can book a UK rail ticket, nice and simple.
Yeah.
But if I'm coming across to Amsterdam, where we're all sitting today, and I want to take a train to The Hague or go to Rotterdam, but I'm sat in the UK, I have to pick up the phone and speak to an agent to make that booking. And the same if you're doing any sort of European provider, Trenitalia, Deutsche Bahn, Renfe, you name it, it's the same situation. But Avenir takes that away. So if I'm a traveller making this booking and I want to book my flight, and then I want to book a train journey, and even if I want that train journey to cross country and I'm in Amsterdam and I want to get myself to Germany, I can do that all from the UK. In the same way that somebody sat in the Netherlands could book a ticket, a UK rail ticket sitting here in Amsterdam, and that works across the European network. So that is an amazing advantage of the platform today. And again, goes back to that self-serve piece. It stops people having to pick up the phone and speak to an agent to do things, and it allows our agents to concentrate on the more challenging, more complex itineraries and helping travellers in their time of need when they need our support for something critical.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, what I find a very interesting example as well is I was talking to another travel manager recently, and he said, about this proactivity. So he was talking to his CFO, and they thought, okay, let's change our policy to see if we can benefit from some cost savings if we have a different business class allowance. If your program spans across, 25, 30 different countries, it takes a good amount of time to get both your online booking tools and your offline servicing set up for that change.
Yeah.
So if you want your business class policy to move from 8 to 12 hours per flight, then it takes time to get that even implemented, let alone for the savings to come in. With Avenir, you can make that change and push it throughout your program, or only to the travelers that it's going to be affected to, or only in specific countries, whatever you choose, and it's done. So, in a few mouse clicks, really, you can make that change. And that puts you as a travel manager in a driver's seat position. So you can actually go to the CFO and say, hey, I think we can do this. And then actually bring that to life. I think that puts a lot more control to the travel manager, and makes jobs much more exciting. Yeah.
Stay agile in the face of
Exactly.
change, and very good.
Yeah. Other thing I hear about when I speak to customers about Avenir is that indeed the possibility of bringing to meet the developments of suppliers to grow their loyalty schemes. So airlines, for example, they're investing a lot in traveler loyalty.
Yeah.
So if you take, say, in the next 5 years, loyalty is going to be a much more important way for airlines to diversify their offering to an individual traveler.
Yeah.
Now, Avenir is all set up to bring that loyalty and to bring all those advantages that you can get as a traveler from an airline directly to you because of that direct connect. So that's Avenir is not only a good choice today, but it's also your future choice.
Very good. So we talked about a bunch of capabilities of Avenir. I'm wondering if there's anything special around guest travel. I know that's always a little prickly for some OBTs.
Yeah. So the great thing about direct travel is we have a policy where you don't have to have a profile to book travel with us. So yes, absolutely. If we can book profile. We have profile solutions and you can book profile travel. But for anyone non-profiled, so contractors, candidates flying in for interviews, guest speakers you might need at events, we can accept and make those bookings for you. And what's even better is you can do those through Avenir now. We also have a lot of travellers who will take their families or want to take their families with them. So not only can you use the platform to book guest travel, but you can use it to book for children and infants if need be as well, which is really different to some of the legacy tech that we've been using in this space before.
That's great. Well, let's close there. It was great chatting with you both. Thanks for giving us a window. Hopefully you guys got a little bit more of a window into Avenir and sort of the value of this union between ATPI and direct travel that's going well. I mean, based on us, it's going very well. So if you want to find out a little bit more about Avenir, please visit us online at atpi.com or dt.com, and you can get more information there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.